Good morning. Could you hear me?
Good morning, Marita.
Perfect. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining our webinar this morning. We're just going to leave it another minute or two just to allow a few more people to log in.
Recording in progress.
On the bottom. Ifa?
Yeah.
Sorry. I see the slide cut on the bottom. I cannot read the QA. I don't know.
Okay, just let me. Would you like to share yours there, Marita?
No, I think it's a problem on.
Did I mention? I
Yeah,
cannot share because she didn't want.
I can try.
Would you like to share yours? And then we'll get started.
Yeah, I just.
Condividi.
Condividi. Desktop. Condividi. And then? No, it's worst.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like this. And okay.
Okay. Thanks, Marita.
Okay.
Thanks, Marita. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today, where we will discuss the MUSAE Open Call. So today we'll hear from speakers Marita Canina, who is our MUSAE project coordinator, and she's going to do a brief introduction into the project. And then we'll hear from Ramona, who will discuss the MUSAE Residencies, followed by Maria Rossetti, who will discuss the open call. And at the end of the webinar, we'll have time for Q&A. So if you'd like to pop any questions into the chat box, we will then field those to the speakers at the end of the webinar. I'd just like to let everyone know that this webinar is being recorded. And thanks again. So I'm going to open up the floor now to Professor Marita Canina. Thanks, Marita.
Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I'm Marita Canina, Associate Professor at Polemy and Coordinator of MUSAE. I want just to start with a curiosity about the name of the project. We used MUSIS, that is in Latin is MUSE, as our inspiration. And we took this name because they are inspirational, different gods of arts. And so for us, it's very important to use this inspirational part because it will be part of our methods. And this is a Greek mosaic, and the logo is about the 9 different gods. Okay, in the consortium, in the project, we have 10 partners with different expertise. Some is from arts and design. Some of them are expert in technologies, in different type of technologies, as you can see, AI, robotics, and wearables. That are the 3 technologies involved in the project. And then we have a nutritionist from UCD that bring the topic expertise. MUSAE, sorry. MUSAE is a new model. We wanted to create a new innovative model, human-centered factory model that integrate artistic collaboration in the digital innovation hubs, European digital innovation hubs, through a specific methods that we called design futures art-driven, that mix two types of approaches. And these methods help companies in strategic guide emerging technologies to create a new innovative product or services in the future of food. The objective is to improve human and planetary well-being. So you can see here a scheme in which the three key elements are people, obviously, artists, technologists, designer, food expert that work together with specific technologies that are, as I said before, AI, robotics, wearables. In this environment that is digital innovation hubs, starts centers and university. Okay, these methods, the objective in using these methods is to support companies, MIS and startup in envisioning future scenarios, just to face the challenges using digital technologies, but not just per se, but to meet social and sustainable challenges in adopting these technologies. The project is supported by Horizon Europe through STARTS, that is an initiative launched under Horizon 2020. We have 5 specific objectives for this project that artists that will be involved will reach with us. It's an experiment, obviously, and so we needed to experiment with artists this new factory model to create this, to structure this factory model, and implement and validate the design future art-driven methods. So in the residencies, we want to use these methods to apply these methods in 2 different calls in order to understand if a structural method can help in this collaboration between artists and technologists and companies. And then obviously we are piloting. We have to create 10 final product that reach the TRL5, but we will explore later. And then obviously we have to link with start ecosystem, because I have to be sustainable. And so we want to use these methods and to spread these methods in the digital innovation hubs, in helping these realities to work with artists. And then obviously to spread this method and to disseminate. This is an overview of the project. We closed the first part that was the refinement of the DFA methods and technology exploration. And then we are starting with the second part, that is the central part, with the first open call. And so you are here for this open call. And there are 3 tracks, but we'll go in deeper later. And 10 artists will be involved in this. And they will be trained in DFA methods and tech exploration. And then there will be the second open call and the prototyping phase. The last part will be the factory model refinement to create this pack to release in the Digital Innovation Hubs. Food as medicine is the topic. We wanted to use this idea of food as medicine because for us it's very important to think about an holistic approach to well-being. And for our idea is that food is not just involve people, it's just not involving people, but also planet. So for us, it's important that we think about an holistic approach. So people and planet have this important role. To create different healthy habits, to face challenges that is not also just related to people, but is in general to planet. So for us is an ecosystem approach. And there will be 3, there are, sorry, no will be, but there are 3 thematic tracks that will be explained later, but all in this area, food as medicine. So if you apply on the open call, you have to choose one of these tracks. The MUSAE factory methods merge. Is a method that merge design futures methods created by Polimi and art thinking approach from Gluon and UB University of Barcelona. So these methods integrated allow to face the challenge with a structural method, but also in an emotional way, an emotional path that allow artists to express themselves and critically reflect on this main topic, food as medicine. And so this method will be used in not just in the first open call, but also in the second open call. Like you can see here, we created 2 pilots, and the first part of the methods will be used in the first open call. We called Art Tech Experiment, the residence, and so will be selected 10 artists, and these 10 artists will be followed by mentors and trainers. So during the period, they are supported by mentors and experts on nutrition, on food, on technology and design and arts. And so through this method, they will create the first 10 scenarios that is the starting point for the second open call. And so there will be the second art tech experiment plus prototyping in the second phase of this project. The final model, the final pack, we call pack, will be created through these guidelines and process on the factory core methods. And then we will release the open call and residence format, the training and mentoring guidelines. Obviously, this project that will be created by artists during the the project will be case studies for this pack. And then we created an integrated stakeholder network that will be released to the Digital Innovation Hub in order to facilitate this connection between artists and the communities of companies. So this is our objective for the project. Thank you. Now I think there will be Ramona.
Thank you, Marisha. Yes, next talk is now in relation to the MUSAE Residencies. So I invite Ramona to speak. Thank you, Marisha.
Hi, everyone. Let me start maybe with a few words on STARTS for those who don't know STARTS yet. STARTS is an initiative of the European Commission, and it has been active since 2016. So for quite some years now, and in all kinds of ways, STARTS deals with interdisciplinary collaboration and how the arts or the criticality of arts can contribute to sustainable digital innovation in Europe. Sometimes directly between arts and science, and sometimes very directly focused on the technology, and sometimes more in the end of the arts and industry, or a combination of the three. All of these three, they go through projects, and these projects are either funded by Horizon Europe or another direct program from one of the DGs. So MUSAE is part of Horizon Europe, and Horizon Europe is the big innovation program of the European Commission. As an artist awarded for this project, you will not have to worry too much about that in terms of reporting, except for the fact that you will see the name of Horizon Europe featured in the agreement that you will sign when awarded for the residency. So then let's proceed with a small introduction on how we will proceed with the residencies and how they will be going. This is about after selecting, so with the winning candidates. So as Marita explained, we will have two phases of, or two residencies. I will now explain the first open call. Next slide, please. So we will have 7 months together for the residency. And through each phase, we want to dedicate different tasks and objectives to it. And we have proposed to structure the residency into 3 main phases and have indicated already some times to it. So in the project, we have a combination of tech companies, universities, and mentoring organizations who will support you throughout the residencies with knowledge and expertise. And the first part of the residency is focusing on the 3 thematic tracks and the technologies provided by the consortium. While the second phase of the residency is focused on the scenario building and processing all the inputs that you have had in or received. And while the final phase of the residency is really focused onto the artwork production. So looking at the first phase of the training, so to start the program, all the finalists will be invited for a kickoff meeting to Polimi in Milan. This meeting will be dedicated to introducing you to the DFA methods that we have been developing for the project. And the methods will introduce you to the design future thinking methods and all sorts of tools that will help you at developing your scenario at the end of the phase. This kickoff meeting in person will also be the moment where you get to know all the partners in person of the project, but where you will also meet all the other artists, all the other 10 artists that have been selected for the open call. Following the in-person meeting, you will be asked to travel to the UCD School of Food and Agriculture in Dublin, and also the tech partners, and to spend some days there for at least 3 days each. And during these visits, you will deepen your knowledge about the chosen thematic tracks, but also the technologies. So please keep in mind that while writing your proposal, you make sure that you reserve time for these travels and also budget. Next slide. So that is indeed the slide on the first kickoff meeting in Polimi. You can find the proposed dates in the guide of applicants, but also in the application form. Next slide. So in the second phase, next slide. In the second phase, when you have visited the different partners of the consortium, we will work towards narrowing down and the development of your scenario. We don't know yet what your scenario will be, so we imagine that your approach could be either both digital and physical. During this phase, we do not ask you to travel, but you will have online mentoring sessions in which we discuss the project or the progress of the project with you, and to see whether there is any help needed. Please note that we are not here to constrain you, but we are here to help you and to mentor you and to give you access to your knowledge, on both on a technical level and with expertise. Next slide. So in the last phase of the residency, it's all about developing the scenario into a concrete, presentable outcome to be exhibited. And there you will also again receive mentoring from the art and design partners involved in the project every once a month. And the outcomes will be exhibited in Barcelona, organized by the University of Barcelona. Next slide. So all of this will be supported by a core team. A nutrition expert partner from the University College of Dublin in Ireland, and the Food of Agriculture, technology experts either from the university or the company partners being the University of Barcelona, Abacus, PAL Robotics, and the University of Manchester, and an art mentor team either with a representative from Gluon, UB Art, or Polimi. I hope this gives you a very first glance of how we plan to structure the residencies and how you will be supported by the consortium. Thank you.
Thanks, Ramona. That was a lovely overview of the MUSAE Residencies. We'll now hand over to Maria Rossetti, who will discuss the MUSAE Open Call. Maria Rossetti.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, good. Thanks a lot, Alex, and thanks a lot for my colleague for the interesting presentation. So the objective of my presentation is to explain you what are the main administrative and procedures in order to apply to the very first open call. So first of all, starting from the beginning, it is very, very important that you have a look at the official documentation, which is available on the following links, because it is the only official source for an information regarding the call. So I strongly encourage you to look at the guide of applicants, and in few days we will also publish the frequently asked question, also based on the question arrived today and the next one. The call will finance 10 artists who will have to participate, as anticipated by Ramona, in a 7-month residency starting in September and finishing at the end of March, beginning of April, in order to develop 10 scenarios based on one of the 3 thematic tracks and one of the 3 thematic digital technologies, which we will explain afterwards. Each project will get maximum 40 key. Each project can will get a maximum of 40 key 40,000 euros per project as a lump sum. Could you go to the next slide, please? Here you can see basically what are the main eligibility criteria. First of all, anticipating some question arrived in the chat, it is very, very important that to highlight the fact that one legal entities can present one proposal. This means that consortia are not allowed. When we mean legal entity or legal person, we intend both natural person or SMEs accordingly to the EU definition that you will find inside the which reference you will find inside of the guide of applicants, which can be considered either as self-employed individual, freelancers undertaking artistic activities, as well as any legal person under the NACE code artistic creation. From a geographical point of view, it is very important that each of the that such legal entities is established in one of the countries eligible for Horizon Europe fundings. And to be more precise, by clicking on the attachment, you can go through the annexes of Horizon Europe regulation, which will include the full list of countries eligible for funding, including associated countries. It is very important not to have any potential conflict of interest within the selection process. And last but not least, I reinforce the fact that the proposal must cover at least one thematic track and one technology. And of course, as you can see in the guide of applicants, proposal must be submitted in English. Could you go next slide, please? Here you can see the topics that again where you will be asked to develop inside your proposal. This means that if selected for funding, it is very important that your project will focus on solving one or more of these thematic tracks, which are focused on food as medicines, and to be more precise, the first challenge included the reduction of carbon footprints in dietary behavior, understanding the role of food in the human well-being, intending both mentally and physically, meaning so the broader holistic sense of human well-being. And secondly, from again a resilience point of view, thinking about model which could reinvent in a more sustainable and holistic way the food chain in order to decrease the impact on the environment, including, as an example, introduction of innovation to reduce the food waste. As you can see, each of these thematic tracks is described inside the call, and for your convenience, we have supported you in defining some small challenges which should solve each track. It is very important that in order to solve such challenges, each thematic track should focus on one digital technologies chosen by the consortium, which is artificial intelligence, robotics, and wearable technologies. Even though the outputs of these activities will be mainly a scenario as well as an artistic prototype. These activities will be very, very important because will inspire the second part of the project, because next year there will be a more complex call which will involve also manufacturing companies who will have to develop also technological ideas basing on the artistic scenarios selected in the first open call. So only artists are eligible, but yet have a look at, and it is very important to have a look at the digital technologies included. Could you please go to the next slide? Here again, as anticipated, you can see the expected outputs and results from your participation and the activities. So it is very important that at the beginning of your project, if selected, you will have to develop a narrative scenarios or visual representation. Just to make some examples, outputs might include sketch, video, website, text, or visual, but you will find a more comprehensive list in the annex 1 of the guide of applicants, on which a final artwork at month 7 will have to be presented in a final exhibition. As far as concern activities, it is important that basically you make sure to accomplish all the activities, including traveling activities and traveling steps to make sure to participate to both the residency program, including the mentoring activities and the final exhibition. Of course, the travel will have to occur basically starting from September to April 2024. Another mandatory activities will, of course, to be present and follow in person the mentoring activities, dividing from physical and online activities. If you could go to the next slide. Here you can see a sum up of the evaluation criteria on which you will be evaluated. As you can see from the score, the maximum criteria, the maximum marks is 15, while the minimum is 9. The free criteria will evaluate the excellence of your proposal, including the innovativeness from the objectives and scopes of the thematics and technology tracks, the fits with the challenges of the MUSAE project, as well as the soundness of proposals in terms of delivering a credible future vision of one of the thematic tracks selected. The impact part is more focused on the implementation readiness of your, on the artistic impact of your proposals, which will be measured in terms of artistic outcomes and artistic potential. Again, definition of innovativeness compared to the existing solution and state-of-the-art activities present in the artistic ecosystem. And finally, the critical sense in order to balance the outputs from critical thinking and the practical approach of the results. Last but not least, the implementation part will assess, as I said by the word, the potential for implementing concrete outputs. This will be measured by evaluating your CVs, artistic portfolio, the technology and artistic quality of your proposal, as well as the resources, because you will be asked to draft a small budget in order to check whether, the compliance with and the credibility of your proposal, basically as an example against the fact that you will have to travel. Could you go please next slide? Okay. Here you can see the application platform. It is called FSS, and it is very, very important that you register to this website before going through the form question, which are, if you could go please next slide, which are focused on 5 sections. Each section is basically each section is composed by 2 or 3 questions, each of which has a very limited number of parameters, and this will allow us to evaluate, of course, the eligibility check by gathering your information and information regarding proposals. It is then in the third point you will be asked to describe the critical vision and motivation to participate in this proposal, and finally in order to check also the budget and the credibility of your implementation, we will ask you to implement a sort of short budget, and very, very important, describe your artistic portfolio in order to understand what is your CV, what is your experience and artistic potential. Please, while writing this information, try to be very, let's say, concise. So the rules, less is more is very important. And please remember that following your submission, then we will evaluate, first of all, the eligibility requirements, and then the quality of your proposal in 3 steps, meaning through a remote evaluation, which will be performed both by internal and external experts, and a consensus meeting, and finally a jury day where, if selected after the consensus meeting, you will be asked to pitch in front of MUSAE jury for a final selection. If you could go next slide. The deadline is the 5th of June, but please keep track, stay up to date on the official starts and MUSAE channels in order to get and understand any potential updates in terms of deadline postponing, and to stay on track with the official documentation. I am done for the moment, and for any question, I think that I have answered already the first 2 questions. I think we can go to the Q&A session.
Yeah, thanks, Maria. So there's just a few questions that have been put into the Q&A. So I will just ask, one of them is it necessary for artists to have prior experience with the technology they use when creating their artwork?
I will try to answer from, let's say, a procedural point of view, then maybe I would leave the word to my artist colleagues for the content-related activities. Having prior experience with the technologies is not an eligibility requirement. Nevertheless, it is very important that in your while presenting in your proposals, you clearly describe how the proposal, how the technologies is addressing the how we are going to use the selected technologies to address the thematic tracks. So this is my, so it is better that at least a broad, I mean, my suggestion would be to get at least a broader knowledge, but I would like to leave the word to Ramon and Marita for maybe more content related answer to this.
No, from our point of view, it's not necessary, because during the residencies, you will be trained by our technical partner. And so you have to create, finally, a scenario that emerged, starting from trend research, to create this scenario through a path with our tools. So it's not necessary to have already have an expertise on technology.
Yes, and maybe my name is Tatiana, and I'm also part of MUSAE project. And maybe what we are looking for during the first open call is to get a bit of your critical reflection on the technologies, because you will choose one of the technologies that you will potentially want to be involved with. So maybe not experience per se, but how you can see that the impact of this technology developing in your future vision that you will be presenting with for the proposal, but not the technological skills per se in these technologies.
No. Yeah, because all the methods will involve you in these critical reflections. So it's important to know the potential of these technologies, and also the risk that this technology can bring on the future.
Okay,
I don't know if it's...
Thank you for answering that. So another question in the Q&A is, to what extent can you apply with the vision for a scenario?
I don't know if the answer is if the question is addressed to me, but what do you mean by to what extent? If you go to Annex 1 of the guide of applicants, you will find some concrete example of output on which the scenario could take form. I can provide some examples: sketches, website, narratives, podcast, graphics. I don't know if I interpret well the question. I hope I answered.
Yeah, maybe.
Or if you want to integrate, Marita, please go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know if is this the question, but yes, the scenario will be part a narrative that have to integrate the context. They have to describe the context in the future from here to 10 years. In the future, well, what happened in the future in this area that they will choose through these methods, and then they have to describe persons that live there, and so what kind of characteristics this person has, and we put some examples in the open call, because it is important. You have to express yourself by describing this scenario. The scenario is a description of what you see in the future in a specific topic. Starting from the tracks, the methods allow you to identify a specific topic and then work in this topic, creating alternative futures. We talk about not one future, because we don't know what will happen in the future. And so we create alternative. And so it's a technique, a specific technique to see many alternative futures that can be positive or negative, according to different characteristics, different field, and social, technological, environmental, and so you have to create this idea of a scenario. But the scenario will be created during the residency.
I can maybe add on that question. I think, yeah, we ask for a motivation and a short proposal. So sure, you can add the scenario and direction you would like to explore. And it's certainly beneficial also for us to know what you would like to explore, which of the thematic tracks and how. So if you already have an idea for a narrative and a scenario, yes, that's possible. And of course, we are there with the method, the DFA method, to extend and further explore the scenario that you made, or the idea, preliminary idea that you already have in mind. So yes, to which extent you can apply, this is possible.
What means that? Thanks all. So another question, maybe this could go to Ramona. And when exactly is the introduction week in September? Is there any dates around that yet, or?
The dates are not fixed yet, but it will be either the last week of September or the first week of October.
That's great. Thank you so much. And then another question that this might go to Marita and Tatiana. So the question is, sometimes art challenges the notion of credibility in order to have artistic impact. Can a winning proposal be a bit weird or out of the ordinary, or should it lean more towards a practical, business-like solution?
Have to be not ordinary. Have to be. No, we are looking for something very different. We need the critical reflection of artists for this reason, because we wanted to see many alternative futures that can be the important part that have to be created alternative for companies. Companies have to see different alternative futures, and then they have to follow a path in order to choose the best of these alternative futures in order to create a polite future for all people, environment, and other stakeholders involved. I don't know if
yeah, I think there are two like not main objectives, but what we see, two directions of the artist's contribution to the process and to working with the companies is first is to challenge the companies. No, that's why we are looking for the extraordinary or like alternative, as Marita said, approaches to the future. So you can critically question the companies or question the technologies you've been working with. And the second is not challenging, but maybe inspiring. So if you can anticipate some new opportunities in these alternative futures you will be developing, this could inspire the companies and the technologies that, the experts that work with the technologies. So for sure, it doesn't have to be ordinary or pro-business.
Yeah, but have to be created by something that is real, not invented. This is so important because the process will allow artists to find trends that start now, but have an impact on 10 years. And so it's so important that after this could be created a concept, a real concept. In the second open call, we have to create some concept starting from this scenario that create opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so being weird is good. Okay, so just following on then from that, because you mentioned then the second open call there, Marita. So another question was, if selected for the first call, can we also apply for the second? So maybe that could go to yourself or Ramona to clarify.
Ramona.
Yeah.
No, maybe I can answer from a pure procedural point of view. We have still to write the second open call, but in principle, for the time being, yes. So at the present time, the answer is yes. You will be updated in case as soon as the second open call guide of applicants will be opened.
That's great. Thanks, Maria.
Ramona, what would you add something?
I have one more question then.
No, okay.
So the final question that's come through is how important is it to include an analysis of the current and future European context in the proposal with respect to the MUSAE themes? Maria, maybe that could be for you, or?
Maybe I can answer just with reference to the evaluation criteria. Of course, the analysis from, let's say, the current and future state of the art is very important in order to justify the innovativeness of your concepts and the soundness of your proposal from the excellence for the excellence criteria. Please remember that the most important criteria, as anticipated by Maria, will be impact and implementation, because in case of in case proposal get the same scores, the proposal having a higher marks in impact than implementation, and finally excellence will be evaluated. So I would say that the answer is yes, it is important, but maybe it's more important to focus on the implementation and the concreteness side of your proposal, as explained before by Marita. But this is just from the, let's say, a description from the guide of applicants and the procedural point of view.
Okay, thanks, Maria. Does anyone want to come in on that as well, or are we happy? There was just another question as well, which Maria had answered as well, which was just, can collectives or duos apply? But I think you would answer that in your presentation as well, Maria.
Yes, as long as collective corresponds to one legal entities, meaning that there is one SMAs or one VAT associated to it, or it is one natural person, it is possible. It is not possible to present a proposal composed by a consortium, meaning by two different legal entities.
That's great.
And
Thanks,
it's
Maria.
important
Sorry, Marisha, please.
No, it's important that in this call, they can apply by themselves, and in the second call, they will present something connected to companies. So in the second call, it's important to create a consortium to meet the, but now, for now, no. In the
That's great. Thanks, everybody. So that's all of the questions. If anyone has any further questions for the panel, if you'd like to type quickly. Otherwise, I'd just like to say thank you all for attending the MUSAE webinar this morning. We hope that we answered the questions and given you some more information in regard to the first open call. And I'd just like to thank all the panelists as well this morning. So I think that's it. There's no more questions coming through. So thank you all. And there will be also another MUSAE information webinar next week on the 15th at the same time. So if anyone has that, we've one final question coming through. So let me just read that out, and then no further questions. Thanks for a lovely presentation. Thanks for that. So yeah, so thank you all. And if there's anything further that anyone would like to hear, do join for the next webinar next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.